Dobar dan, dragi prijatelji, dobrodošli u još jednu epizodu emisije Sat Plus na radio televiziji Srbije. Ja sam Alvirović, a iza mene, kao što vidite, je jedan znak plave boje sa belim ispisanim slovima, od kojih na desnoj strani možemo da vidimo Tesaloniki, zapravo Thessaloniki, to znači Solun na grčkom jeziku i to označava da je ovdje skretanje desno za Solun. Dakle, na 633. kilometru iz Beograda skrećemo za Solun i upućujemo se, dakle, skretanjem udesno za Solun. Pored mene je ovdje dole jedan mrtav pacov, nemojte na to pretjerano da obraćate pažnju i pravite se kao da vam nisam skrenuo pažnju na to. Idemo dalje. U Grčkoj ima nekoliko pumpi na kojima ima tečni naftni gas. Ovo je jedna od njih. Sada ćemo tu da skrenemo. Evo, kao što vidimo, tečni naftni gas. Piše 0893. Ne znam šta te brojke znače, ali vidimo da piše gas. Idemo da sada stavimo malo tečnog naftnog gasa. Vidimo ovaj automobil. Vidite ovaj automobil. Njega nećemo da udarimo, već ćemo levo od njega da prođemo i zaustavimo naše vozilo. Upravo ovdje gdje piše također nešto što ne razumijem šta znači. Do kraja. Evo, ovaj čovjek će sada da napumpa gas, tačnije da sipa tečni naftni gas u ovo vozilo ovdje i onda ćemo biti spremni da nastavimo sa našim putem ka Solunu. Evo sada da vidimo. Čuje se nešto, dakle, tečni naftni gas ulazi u vozilo, što će mu dati gorivo sa kojim ćemo moći da pokrenemo vozilo kako bismo mogli da stignemo do Soluna i to je naravno veoma važno za ovo putovanje. Fascinantno, fascinantno. Tečni naftni gas je ubačen u vozilo. Sada ću da vam dam neke informacije vezano za cene benzina, dizela i tečnog naftnog gasa u Grčkoj. Jeste vidjeli, dobro je. Idemo dalje. Evo, dragi prijatelji, vozimo ka Solunu. Ovaj deo puta je vrlo kvalitetan, što se može vidjeti po broju traka na putu. Ovdje nema rupa, ali ima ljudi koji prevoze brodove. Kao što vidite, ovaj brod, vrlo dobro kvaliteta za plovidbu morem. Da vidimo koliko je do Soluna, dakle 58 km do Soluna, odnosno 638 km iz Beograda. Molimo vas da obratite pažnju na to koliko je kilometara sve od Beograda. Evo nas, stigli smo u Solun, međutim malo smo se izgubili, dakle nisam siguran gdje se nalazimo, a i tu su neki natpisi sve na grčkom i ne znam šta znači i ne znam kako zapravo da dođemo do destinacije koju smo planirali.
Alviroviću, pogledaj Google Maps.
Šta je Google Maps? Dobrodošli u specijalnu epizodu Revolucije. Ja sam Boris Malagurski i nalazim se trenutno u Solunu, gradu koji je poznat po frontu i mnogim drugim stvarima. Grčku je zadesila velika kriza. Još pre par godina toliko se zemlja zadužila da jednostavno je ekonomija pukla. I da bismo izbjegli istu takvu situaciju, potrebno je da znamo šta se to desilo u Grčkoj i zbog čega je grčka ekonomija propala. Međutim, nekoliko godina nakon najgorih delova iz krize, situacija u Grčkoj polako počinje se stabilizuje. Iako mnoge stvari ne funkcionišu, postoji jedna stvar koja itekako dobro funkcioniše, a to je prodaja kožnih jakni kod Jorgosa. Evo tu se nalazim sada ispred njegove radnje, pa da vidimo da li je kriza potrefila i onu najosjetljiviju privrednu granu, a to je kožnu industriju. Kako Grci napreduju nakon krize i kako mi možemo da izbjegnemo njihovu sudbinu. Dobar dan.
Dobrodošli, kako ste?
Boris Malagurski. Tražimo Jorgosa.
Ja sam gospodin.
Možemo da nam postavimo par pitanja za srpsku televiziju?
Može, izvolite, hvala.
Hvala. Gospodine Jorgos, čuli smo da ovdje ima vrlo kvalitetnih proizvoda kože. Zanima me kako je kriza vas potrefila. Da li ste vi krizu osjetili?
Mnogo dobro ste čuli. Kod nas ima malo krize, a naše ceni nema krize. Ova godina smo još je bolje i još je pokvalitetne. Evo jedno da vi pokažemo šta imamo i za koja je cena. Naprimjerno, ovo što sad gledate, to je kvalitetne, unutra postavljeno. Ovo devojče će da proba, a to je za cena 50 euro. A ima garancija 10 godina. Vidite da li to je lepo, a imamo prsluci prelepi za 25 euro, imamo prsluci za 50 euro, ovi ceni što ne mogu nigde da nađete. U Evropa, ne u Grčkoj.
A da li se osjetio neki pad ili i dalje dolaze ljudi i uprkos krizi?
Cela Srbija je ovdje kod nas.
Kod nas, hvala.
Radimo na veliko, cene su nam jako dobre.
Ima si ne pisu, ti?
Tako.
A recite mi, šta Srbija treba da uradi da bi izbjegla krizu koja je zadesila Grčku, po vašem mišljenju?
Najma ste ga pi meni, kako se kaže? Kako smo, da smo testo.
Όχι, ρωτάει τι πρέπει να κάνουμε για να αποφύγουμε την κρίση, όπως έχουμε στη Σερβία. Εμείς, τι πρέπει να κάνουμε.
Da smo jedno, najmaste jedna.
Da se udružimo i da budemo složni.
Balkanci da smo jedno. Grcija i Srbija smo bratija. Bili smo i sad još isto. Dobro kao govori?
Da, tako.
Eto, kao što vidimo, kožna industrija itekako razvijena i cveta, jel tako mogu slobodno se izraziti? Kvalitetne kožne jakne ovdje mogu da se nađu. Nakon što malo pregledamo da vidimo šta ima, pogledat ćemo i šta Grci na ulicama Soluna misle o krizi i o situaciji u svojoj zemlji. I kako da mi u Srbiji izbjegnemo krizu koja ih je zadesila. Posle vrlo iscrpnog traženja jakni po gomilama kod Jorgosa čuvenog, došao sam na ulicu da vidimo na ulicama Soluna kakva je atmosfera u grčkom narodu, kako ljudi gledaju na krizu koja ih je zadesila, kakva je trenutna situacija i da li imaju neki savjet za Srbiju kako mi da izbjegnemo situaciju koju su oni zapali. Da vidimo da li možemo nekog da nađemo. What is the economic situation like in Greece?
Difficult. In many countries you will see that if you don't work you won't find money. If you do bad things, to steal, to cheat, they will find you sometime. We did that, they found us. So we're paying.
It's not very good. Yeah, but it's okay now.
I think it's gonna get better. We see some light in the horizon. We'll see.
Before 4 years it was bad, now it's better.
What is the economic situation like in Greece?
Quite bad.
Difficult. Είναι από τη Σερβία και θέλουν να ρωτήσουν πώς είναι η οικονομική κατάσταση στην Ελλάδα.
Μέτρια.
He says so and so.
Crisis. Yeah, that.
Well, is it better now than it was before?
Not really, no. Not at all.
Why do you think the economic crisis took place?
Many reasons.
What are they?
The international crisis and maybe the bad foundation of the Greek economics when this happened.
Our salaries are are very low, much lower than it was before the crisis.
What is the economic situation like in Greece?
This time, it's very difficult because most people of Greek, they haven't work. It's very difficult, but we have a smile and we can make something for this.
Oh, very sad.
Why?
Why? Because all the people, we don't have money, nothing.
You don't have no money.
No money, no funny.
Where are you from?
Denmark.
Oh, okay. What is it? Well, do you think that the economic situation in Greece is okay now? What is the feeling that you get?
That is not okay, but we don't know.
So, since you came here, what is your impression of Greece?
The streets are dirty. The streets are dirty.
What else?
A lot of cars, a lot of people. Yeah.
What is it like in Denmark? The streets are clean, there's not a lot of people.
There are people, but the streets are more clean and there are more bicycles and not so many cars. And yeah.
Have you been to Serbia?
No.
Just for a few hours.
Yeah.
Just for a few hours.
Just for a few hours. And how did you like it?
I don't know, we were in the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You should come. It's really nice. I'm from Serbia, so.
Serbia.
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be shown on television in Serbia.
Oh.
You're going to be famous, so then you have to come.
No, okay, then we'll come to Serbia.
Okay, deal. Enjoy.
Thank you.
Okay. Economy in Greece, what is it like? Good, bad?
I think good. I see every people on the streets and shopping and laughing.
In the cafes?
Yeah, I think it's good.
The crisis is over.
It seems so, yes. In Greece, the people live, and the economic situation is for the Greek people no problem. They live.
Everything is great.
Yeah, I think so.
Where are you from? Germany. Oh, Germany. How are you treated as a German in Greece? I heard that the Greeks don't like Germans that much. Because of the politics.
Normally.
You feel okay?
Yeah.
No problem?
No problem.
What do you...
Home. It's like home.
Greece have enough money. I think.
They have enough.
I think the
Yeah.
Greek people is rich in her heart, not in her.
Well, they don't need money, they have a good heart.
Yes.
You can see people drinking and stuff, but really most people, the parents, don't have any money.
What advice can you give to Serbia so that we don't get into this situation?
Oh, really? I don't know. Really, I don't know. Make people pay their taxes.
People should pay their taxes.
The rich people as well.
Oh, the rich people should pay their taxes. How do you make them do that?
I don't know. Punish them.
Try to solve problems early. We didn't solve them.
Be very careful with the politics, the people that you choose to ruin you, not to ruin, to be in the government.
How can we be?
Ruin you if you don't choose the right people.
How can we be careful? How can we know who's right?
Search everything and don't let them fool you.
Is there any advice you could give to Serbia so that we don't experience what you did?
Get your...
Is there no hope for us? There's no hope.
No, I think.
O Boże, nema nam spasa.
Well, there's not a advice special for Serbia, but for anyone, maybe just keep track of everything, be organized, and do your stuff on time, or I don't know.
You think we should join the EU?
Yes, why not? Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, because it will make a bridge between the rest of Europe and Greece, the Balkans, everything. Yeah.
So is the situation like today, now, what is the situation like right now?
In Greece or in general?
In Greece.
It's hard to find jobs. It's really hard to find good paid jobs. And there's not much future for the young people who study. They're very well educated, but there's no job for the good education they have.
Do you have any advice for Serbia so that we don't get in Greece's situation?
For Serbia, I think that we have too much good relationship, and we are near like peoples. The only is to work if you can, and after to be happy, to want to be happy, because all the others is very difficult. If you think all the time the economics, you're going to be crazy. So you can take the life a little bit more easy.
And just be happy.
Yes, you try to be. Because I think that at this moment Greece is in the third place of the most disappointment people in the world. It's very difficult. But if you don't try, the only you can make for yourself is bad. So you try, you go, and you can make it. I'm right, I think. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Manje kukanja, manje plakanja i malo više osmeha i sve će biti okej. Naravno, ono što je gospodin zaboravio da kaže, da moramo mnogo više i da radimo, da se trudimo i naravno da vodimo računa, kao što je jedna žena rekla, šta se dešava u vlasti, da mi budemo uvek oni koji kontrolišemo vlast, a ne vlast da kontroliše nas. A sada čujemo malo nešto i od sekretara Svetskog kongresa mira Iraklisa Cavridisa, s kojim se sastao i razgovarao na temu Jugoslavije, Srbije i mnogim drugim temama.
After 1991, after the dissolution of the Soviet Union and the socialist countries in Eastern Europe, NATO was alone. And its ambitions and this expansion went on and on. Few days only before the aggression started, two new members, neighbor countries to Yugoslavia, joined NATO, Hungary and Czech Republic. And they became automatically aggressors, attackers to their neighbor country, the Federal Republic of Yugoslavia. But this also was not the beginning of the crisis in Yugoslavia. Everything started suddenly after 40 years living together peacefully and in harmony, the peoples and the nations of Yugoslavia, when in the north two of the republics, the Federal Republic, two states declared their independence, and the same day Germany recognized them. This is what they're accusing today others to having done. But moreover, before reaching the bombing and the aggression, there was the farce of the Rambouillet, the so-called proximity talks with the mediation of Madame Albright. How can ever somebody believe, somebody well-believing and peace-loving, that the Secretary of State of the United States of America can mediate between a government and representatives of a minority like the Kosovo Albanians to find a peaceful solution? And if the mediation and the so-called proximity talks would not be there, but direct talks would be there, a solution would have been found. We are very sure of that. The irony is that after the bombing and the 78 days of murderous bombing, I myself visited your country 2 times during those 78 days. The imperialists, whether it is the NATO or the European Union, the Americans in a dominant role, created a protectorate on Serbian soil, on the Kosovo and Metohija. And not only that, the biggest military base abroad, out of the US, is in Camp Bondsteel, which is in the Kosovo. They didn't build that bases for 5 or 10 years. It's a huge city. And from there they're operating all what you could see later, after 99, towards the Central Asia, towards the Middle East, towards Ukraine. Camp Bondsteel, in case of any aggressions and threats to the region, is a key base, together with the bases of the United States in Turkey, in Greece, and so on.
Let's talk a little bit about Slobodan Milosevic. Now, he was overthrown the very next year after the bombing. How was this done?
Actually, he was honest enough, honorable. After elections were a second round should be held. He didn't go even for the second round, accepted his electoral defeat, and handed himself over to the Serbian authorities. But these people on Serbian and international level, they had no honor and they had no principles. They hijacked him, they kidnapped him to put him to Hague as a war criminal, as an act of revenge against the whole nation in his person. You see, when you see later on all the aggressions which followed after '99, after Yugoslavia, you could see how much the case of Yugoslavia was a precedent case for all the crimes later, for Afghanistan, for Iraq, for the threats against peoples and nations in Africa, for Mali, for Libya, for the threats today against the people of Syria, tomorrow on Iran, or what is going on again in Ukraine, in that corner. And it is really cynical. It is outrageous to see that who received recently, the last years, the Peace Nobel Prize? The European Union, first President Barack Obama, and then the European Union. It is a farce. The farce could be only completed if the next time they will award NATO with the Nobel Peace Prize, then the farce will be complete, and then they can stop awarding with the Nobel Peace Prize. It is already a joke, which is really provoking the intelligence and our feelings, peace-loving feelings. The ones who kill, who massacre people and occupy and threaten with the force, to be awarded with the Nobel Peace Prize.
What happened with the economics in Yugoslavia after Milosevic was closed?
As far as we can follow and observe from some distance, but I think we have enough information to understand that in Yugoslavia, in the case of remaining Yugoslavia, of Serbia today, what was applied or what is being applied is the same scheme, more or less, only that it became more, after a tragic aggression, after killings and destruction of the country, the same scheme like in other East European countries. In Hungary, in Czech Republic, in Poland, in Romania. First, in order to become member of the European Union, which is supposed to be the goal, the dream of the nations, you have to get into NATO, or at least into Partnership for Peace. This means in the radius of cooperation with NATO, to submit yourself, and in case of Serbia, this means to hand over the Kosovo, which is already a protectorate, and the negotiations in Brussels between the Serbian government, now you have a new one, but it's the continuation, and the representatives of the Kosovo and the European Union, they're actually of the same opinion. There are no negotiations in Brussels. These three sides are of the same opinion. I think that they are only negotiating, they are only talking how they can sell the result, the outcome, to the Serbian people, which has not accepted as such that Kosovo will be given up. This is the carrot. On the one hand, they say, look, if you want to get into the European Union, this is the carrot. You have to give up your part of your province, part of your sovereignty. But you see, all the other cases who entered affiliated to the European Union, they were not affiliated in order to make out of them another Austria or another Germany. For what they need, the new members of the European Union, is for their cheap labor and for their markets, and for a geostrategical sphere of influence of the dominant forces in the European Union. The same in NATO. There is a clear effort, intention to encircle Russia, step by step, with the expansion of NATO to the east. And Serbia, and first of all, the Kosovo through the Camp Bond deal of the United States and of NATO, is serving also the purposes of that. The economy of Serbia, if they put Serbia into the European Union or in access process, will suffer the same what the peoples of Portugal, of Spain, of Greece suffered in the last 30-35 years when they got affiliated. Your agriculture economy will go down. Your industry will go down. You will not be able to produce by your sovereign decision what you want and to import the rest. You will first import what you have to import, and maybe they will allow you to produce also some. This means that the country will become a country of services and of the third sector, and of tourism. And of course it will be fully dependent, and whatever money the European Union or the IMF will give you, it will create only burden and dependence for the future.
What can you tell me about the Washington Consensus?
I think that all types of agreements or proposals regarding Serbia or the region are arbitrary. Are arbitrary because they don't take it into account, first of all, the needs and the rights of the peoples, the sovereign right for every people to decide upon its fortunes, upon its leadership, and so on. So I think there is now kind of a plan which has been imposed on Serbia for so-called good governance, and unfortunately I'm afraid that your people has, although it was courageous, very much courageous and brave during the aggression 15 years ago, it is frustrated and has lost its hopes, its self-confidence to become really the masters of their fortunes and of their country.
How would you describe neoliberalism?
Neoliberalism is just one expression of the world capitalist system. There is you can say, there is also another way to manage capitalism, but it will stay still capitalism. If you go by the principles of Keynes, or if you go by social democratic variations of the running a capitalist state, there are more, how to say, open neoliberal and hidden neoliberal policies. Actually, they agree all. That the main target is to reduce the so-called labor cost. This means the salaries and what the workers receive for their work. This means to increase the exploitation of them. In this, they are all of the same opinion, neoliberals or less neoliberals or Keynesianists, because what is uniting them is that the sacred thing is the profits of the enterprises, and of course of the big enterprises, the multinationals, the monopolies. Therefore, I wouldn't agree that the problem is the neoliberal capitalism, but it is the capitalism as such, which is through its crisis we are facing this period, a deep crisis, also creating the causes, the root causes for wars and aggressions, since you can, for every war and aggression, you can follow the trace of the oil, of the gas, of the pipelines, which is always part of the whole of the war and the aggression.
How much can you tell us about the history of this sort of predatory capitalism, from it starts with Friedrich von Hayek or Milton Friedman?
Oh, look, I believe personally that things are more simple, and intellectuals who have served and written interesting and important books cannot deny the basis for analysis on social, on the development and evolution of societies, written by Marx and Engels more than 160 years ago. So this does not change. It still exists. You see, from the slavery to feudal societies to capitalism in its different phases, the experiment for 70 years of building socialism in the Soviet Union, 50 years in Eastern Europe, the interesting and important experience of building socialism in cases like Yugoslavia, with the achievements and the peaceful living together of the peoples of Croatia, of Serbia, of Yugoslav Macedonia and Bosnia and Montenegro. There was nothing. So suddenly after 91, all the peoples became enemies to each other. we respect the diversity and the religious culture and others of the people. But you see, Marshal Tito was Croatian, and he was ruling supposedly a country dominated by Serbs. This doesn't go together. So if it would be true that Serbs and Croatians are hating each other, then this country would not be for 40 years as it was. And as a champion also in the non-aligned movement in the world, with a big contribution.
Could you draw a parallel between how much Serbia is and most other countries of the former Yugoslavia are going into debt with how much Greece is in debt?
The so-called sovereign foreign debt of Greece was created and accumulated by the policies of the governments, which were doing neoliberal policies, by the way, taking loans, giving cheap loans, taking loans from the international markets, giving cheap loans to entrepreneurs and enterprises, which were then taking the money out to Switzerland or to the Cayman Islands and so on, without investing them, without creating growth, without giving jobs within the capitalist system. The debts and the have not been created by the peoples, neither in the case of Greece nor in the case of Portugal or Ireland and so on. On the other hand, there are statistics and very deep analysis which say that Greece has paid at least 2.5 times its debt by paying the interest rates for so many years. Which is not the main aspect, but by the way, it is an aspect that you are paying and paying, and actually you are paying only the interest rates, and the capital is still of the debt is still being accumulated. For every tranche, for every part of the money, the Troika, the European Central Bank, European Commission, and IMF is giving to Greece, 90% of this money, almost every time, is going to the payment of the interest rates of the previous loans. So it is a vicious circle which Greece will never escape from.
Are the countries of former Yugoslavia going towards the same?
It's clear with the IMF. Show me a place where the IMF has been without destroying totally a country, wherever, in Latin America, in Africa, in Asia, wherever the IMF is there. It's not a charity club. Neither is the European Union a charity
club. But they say the IMF did a good thing in Argentina. They used Argentina as the best example.
Yes, but you see in what problems and trouble Argentina is again. First of all. Secondly, if it is the misery and the poverty, the impoverishment of the people has to reach that level to say that now we will start from zero and then we will make a new count from zero on. It's improving, yes, everything is relative. But it's not true that I would tell you the example of Ecuador, which refused paying the debt after Rafael Correa came to power, the current president, who was second and third time re-elected. And he said, no, we have paid it already. And if you want to, and he nationalized a great part of the oil economy, and then it is a matter of negotiations and of firm standpoint of the government with the people behind him to say that no, we don't. If you want to do business with us, then you have to accept to make a, let's say, a cut of, to recognize a cut of the so-called haircut, a cut of the debt. Otherwise, we will do it unilaterally. And
but don't you have to pay back your loans?
You see, if the loans are given with the purpose they are being given now, this means to make profit, to make business actually through the poor countries which are in debt, then there is also legally by international law a basis to claim that you cannot pay back after 10 years paying. You have paid it already 2 times. So this is valid even in your bank and on a personal loan. You can go to court in many countries and say that no, I'm overcharged by the bank, and since I'm not being able to pay, and then the bank, in order to get part of its money, not of its money it loaned you, to reduce part of its profits. That is possible. And this is happening in other cases, only that for that you need willing governments which will confront the powerful banks and the IMF and so on. And unfortunately, in the cases of Portugal or Greece or or Cyprus, this is not the case. Ecuador called for an international commission of scientists, of economists, which reviewed, which analyzed what about the debt of the country. And they said, in the last 20 years, the country has paid back its debt already 3 times. So we are not going to recognize further payment unless we do a new settlement of the debt. And they negotiated. They negotiated with their creditors, and they found a solution, because the others, the ones who were loaning or who were lending them the money, preferred to make a deal, a fair deal with Ecuador, because at the same time the ones who were giving them their money have also multinational oil corporations, and they are eager to work with the country for this or that purpose. So there are general economic interests behind, and there are also geostrategical interests. Look, Ecuador had one of the biggest US military base on its territory, the famous Manta base. Rafael Correa, before getting elected, he said, if I come, I will demolish it. I will close it down. Not many people believed it, but he did it. So he confronted the USA, which is not an easy thing. Slobodan Milosevic in Yugoslavia confronted the United States and the NATO, because they told him, we are actually not interested in your signature in Rambouillet. What we want is to hand us over your country. We will come here with full impunity, we will rule, we can kill, we can take everything, and you cannot charge us. You cannot charge us in front of court. And what would be Slobodan Milosevic and his government? He would be just a puppet regime under a NATO, American, European Union rule on his territory. And Slobodan Milosevic could not sign that. So they wanted Serbia, through its leadership, on their knees. And since they did not agree on that, they had to be bombed. And this is the conclusion also for other cases later, for aggressions. World Peace Council, which I'm representing, is not identifying itself with the leaders and the leadership. That's the internal business, the internal task of the peoples. But we have to recognize that if a leader, like the one in the case of Serbia, Slobodan Milosevic, with dignity and with patriotism, stood up against the powerful war machinery in NATO, that we have to recognize and to appreciate.
Tell me, what is the influence that certain NGOs have on public opinion in the former Yugoslavia?
Look, there are NGOs and NGOs. There are GNGOs and NGOs. There are governmental NGOs and there are real non-governmental organizations. What I mean is that there are NGOs who are being paid, they are on payrolls of millionaire NGOs, which get the money directly from the CIA through their NGOs, the National Endowment for Democracy, the USAID. There are others who are real NGOs, who have good people and good agenda and goodwill, but they are infiltrated by guys and people who have a different agenda, to abuse, to dilute this social work and the service to the people. So therefore the NGOs, if you take the experience of Yugoslavia before the aggression and after, towards your first elections after Milosevic, they openly said, they have installed in Budapest an office with $50–60 million budget, another office in Belgrade for it. Altogether, the whole business here was not very expensive. It was 300 million maybe. Today, for Ukraine, they are spending 5 billion openly. 1 billion by the Congress, by the US Congress, 5 billion by European Union or IMF money, so they are spending much more. The budget has increased. The guys here who are doing the dirty job of subversive actions or creating trouble were getting paid much less. So, but it's also 15 years back, so the prices have gone up.
What about the media? How do they influence public opinion? We know, for example, two of the 6 channels with national frequency in Serbia are actually owned by Greeks, and they have very, very high influence in...
You see, the capitalists have no fatherland. The media are being, most of the times, not always, are an extension, or they are controlled by the ruling forces or the ruling powers, which are not only politically but economically, first of all. And you see the owners of channels and newspapers and so on are often also owners of football clubs and of ships. In case of Greece, you see the ship owners have also the factories and so on. So they have their football team, they have their channel, they have their other enterprises, they have their media, and by that they create an environment to which they, openly or not openly, exercise pressure or influence to the respective governments. And this is, in one or another way, happening also in Serbia today, without knowing the details exactly, how the things are interrelated to each other inside Serbia.
My last question, what would be your advice to the people of Serbia, Croatia, Bosnia? What should we do in terms of politics, economics and such?
First of all, looking around you, and I think our peoples, especially in the Balkans, me coming from Greece, look what happened to Greece 30 years in the European Union. And not only this phase now with the economic crisis. We are talking about misery in Greece now. We are talking about misery. Maybe not that misery and poverty where people are dying in the street like they would do in Africa, but this is the result after 30 years in the European Union. We have no productive basis, we have no agricultural sector, we are importing everything, and the tourism which we have, which is many millions a year, around 17 million visitors, are not leaving really how to say, wealth to the people. This is tour operators, this is money which goes again out of the country. In this case, the peoples of Yugoslavia should not fall into the trap to believe that the European Union will provide them, how to say, a different life, a better life. In Greece, before 1981, before the entrance of Greece to the European Economic Community, the predecessor structure to the European Union, they were saying literally, we will eat with golden spoons. So rich we will become, so wealthy that our spoons will be out of gold. And they were really, I mean, today it sounds cheap, but 35 years ago the slogans were so cheap. So with golden spoons. So today they would tell other different similar lies to the peoples of the former Yugoslavia. And you can see the first who got affiliated to them, who became members of the European Union, if they are living better or not, or the ones who are entering also to the Eurozone and so on. Especially with the Eurozone, look at Cyprus, which was a wealthy country, a small country, but a wealthy country. The peoples of Yugoslavia and the peoples of Europe in general should understand Europe is not the European Union. To belong to Europe doesn't mean to be in the European Union, which is the union of the capitalists, of the capital, of the multinationals, and so on. The peoples of Europe, yes, should live together in fraternity and in peace and in mutual exchanges and cooperation. Serbia, I would advise the people of Serbia, and the government of Serbia would not listen to me, to stay neutral, to be in mutual relations with the European Union, and of course not to enter NATO. The ones who killed you, the ones who occupied part of your territory, the ones who are behind so many threats and evils to humanity.